Another day without Jacques. And that means it's a good day here at the Epic Homestead, because what we're gonna do is tackle the Epic Pond, which I haven't shown you in
months,
maybe a year or so, at least not a dedicated episode here on the Epic Homesteading channel. So this is the Epic Pond refresh. So Paul's seen the trials and tribulations of the pond. I have, Jacques has, that's why he's not here today, he doesn't want to help out. But what we've got here is a couple different problems, Paul.
Yep. So we have a massive algae buildup throughout the entire pond, and then up at the waterfall area, the filters and the bioballs setup have really just sort of
disassembled themselves in a way. I mean, there's like these bioballs floating on down here. Normally, this pond has this natural return right about here, falling into the reservoir underneath both Paul and my feet. Right now, the reservoir is nearly empty and we're not seeing any drainage.
It's actually a secondary pond if you think about it, right?
It kind of is, which is not good because of course we have all these mosquito fish and the koi could technically get down there. So we have a lot of different things we're going to tackle in today's video, but I think the first thing we need to do, Paul, is actually just turn the pond off.
I agree.
All right, Paul, so we're up here by the biofalls, and for whatever reason, I think just over time, it kind of undid itself, but it was doing its job for a long time. And the whole point here is to recirculate water through the pond while also acting as biofiltration with these things called bioballs, which have 16 inches of surface area per ball, which basically allows a lot of bacteria to colonize it and start filtering out a lot of the things that would otherwise clog up a system like this. But at this point, it wasn't working because the bioballs fell out.
Correct.
And so what we need to do is grab these pads here. You want to get one of these out with me?
Yeah, should be 2 of those in
Oh my God.
Oh boy, yeah, we're gonna have to pressure wash that.
So these, I mean, yes and no. These are doing the job they're supposed to do. There's tons of surface area in these mats. It's supposed to provide an area for bacteria to colonize. Right now though, I think it's overdone a little bit. So we're gonna have to lay these out, Paul, and hit them with a pressure washer. That'll give this area time to settle down a little bit because now it's very cloudy.
Yep.
I have no idea what's going on in here. And to be honest, it smells like ass. Are these,
Those look like snails to
these
me.
are tons of little snails.
Right?
Look how many snails are reproducing in here.
Didn't you have the pond starting with 1 snail and now you
It was
have
it was from a lotus or something, guys. It was a snail or 2, and now I thought this was pebbles. That's how many there are. That's crazy. Let's get the population down a little bit here. I need a Korean body scrub after this, AKA I need the wise and experienced hands of a aged Korean man to slough off pounds of my skin after this.
Oh my God.
It reminds me of do you ever go to the lake when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Just any lake?
Yep.
And you get into the sludgy parts?
Yeah,
Like the sort of stagnant water?
Mm-hmm. It's almost like, I mean, Fiesta Island being local to us, this is what it feels like. I worked at Fiesta Island, and this is exactly what it looked like every time I got into the water.
Yep.
I think it's looking pretty good. Do you want to leave that watercress in there?
We'll leave the watercress. Okay. Even if we didn't, it would come back.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine to have that there.
Okay.
Let's collect those bioballs.
Yeah.
Just the ones that have fallen out. I'm gonna try to get the edge of all these different stones.
Okay.
To get just some of that algae sludge off.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we have a biosludge eradicator as well as algicide we're gonna treat the pond with. And we have some cosmetic improvements. We actually have new plants that we're gonna put in the pond today as well. And Paul, for the first time ever, we're gonna propagate our water lilies.
Yep. Super excited about that. Never done that before.
Never done it.
It'll be a journey.
Of course, while I'm hitting all these rock edges and trying to blast the algae off, I'm making sure I don't mess with our beautiful koi. We still have the 6 that we've had for many years now. They're actually quite large. I would say they're about this big or so, which is great. But we're not gonna disturb them while we improve their home. One thing this pond revamp is teaching me is that if the conditions are off within a system, then you're going to have problems literally downstream in this case, which is something that I wasn't doing for years with my own health, which brings us to today's sponsor, Function Health. I did my first round of testing with Function Health last year. I have my next round coming up in a couple months here. And the beauty of it is it tests over 100 biomarkers: heart health, metabolic health, inflammation, toxins, stress, pretty much anything you could imagine. For my last round, I noticed that my insulin numbers were a bit high, as well as my overall inflammation numbers were quite high. And a lot of you know here on the channel, I've been making huge strides to improve my health. Function is helping me actually see if the changes I'm making are making a difference in my biomarkers. So even in last year's testing, which consists of one initial test and a 6-month follow-up, I had some pretty impressive improvements, but in a couple months I'm going for my next one, and I'm very excited to see if some of the changes I've made in the last few months are going to make a difference. The best part is, it is $365 a year, so $1 a day. When I went in for a single test that I had to beg for from my actual doctor, it was over $300 alone. So if you were to do these tests through the traditional system, you'd be paying potentially thousands or even over $10,000. But with Function Health, you get it for $1 a day. And even better, if you go to functionhealth.com/Epic Homesteading 25, or just use the code Epic Homesteading 25 at checkout, you'll get an additional $25 off. It's an amazing service. It's backed by guys like Dr. Mark Hyman. And honestly, the thing I love about it the most is they're not selling any pharmaceuticals or supplements. It's just the data. So it's very, very unbiased. Again, functionhealth.com/Epic Homesteading 25. Check it out. And now let's get back to the pond. All right, it's been many years now, guys, but I think it's time to say goodbye, or at least a resurrection, to this canna that's right here. It's so clumpy now. Finally got the shovel underneath it, but it's like 50 pounds of root mass and like sort of anaerobic sludge water. I'm not gonna try to get out here. I'll probably repropagate it, but this is just too much to have in the pond as is. Look at these roots. Oh my God.
So I'm getting the rest of the grass that's hanging out in this pond area out, and the more I can get out, the better, just because it was wicking away a lot of moisture from the pond. And a lot of this was decorative stuff that we had originally put in probably like a year or two ago, but it just is overgrown. It didn't really do all that well in the area that it was until it started doing well.
I'm really hoping the desludger does a lot of work here, because if it can break it down into a liquid component,
yeah,
and then that can eventually get uptaken by the plants, then it will literally clean this whole area out.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is we just need more plants in here, because the reason that we have so much algae to begin with is because we don't have enough plants.
We don't have enough plants, and we have 4 new plants that we're gonna add.
Yep.
2 purple watercress, 1 new alocasia, and 1, I always forget the name of it. This is a new addition to the Epic Pond. This is Hydrocodal bonariensis, AKA giant pennywort.
Huh.
Don't you think like it's a witch's brew type thing?
Oh,
like
definitely.
a little ounce of pennywort in your stew. So we're gonna put that in there and see how that does. Alrighty guys, I've got the lilies that have spread their way through the pond in a beautiful way, honestly. But what I wanna do is control their growth a little bit, which means I really have to get up in here and rip some of these underground stems out of the ground. And I'll show you how we're gonna propagate these. So there comes one, here comes another. And it's okay if you break them off. So we're gonna use this one as the example. I'll peel away some of the debris that's kind of growing through these roots, because you have these very, almost like aeroid style roots. These are of course water roots, but in like a monstera, this would be an aerial root. You know, they kind of wrap around something. So you have this underground stem here, underwater stem, and the lily pads are gonna be coming out of chunks of this stem, kind of sprouting up like this. So what you wanna do to propagate is make sure you have at least a 3-inch chunk. Come through, isolate that, and just chop it. And you don't have to be precious about it, because trust me, these guys, they know how to propagate themselves. So I have a whole pile of them over here. You just need about that much. And you can put these back in the water in an aquatic pot with some underwater potting medium, or you can put them in a normal pot and let them kind of grow up, as long as it's well hydrated. We should have a lot more lilies that we can sprinkle around the pond or just give away. Alrighty, Paul, let's reconstruct the biofalls. And it's funny, it's like intimidating to us
Yeah.
to do this. And then you watch one video and all of a sudden not so much. So in goes this is sort of like water breaker, I guess, pressure sort of spreader at the bottom is the best way I could call it. So that goes in right at the bottom.
Yep.
Almost as if it was supposed to be there the whole time. So here goes these are the biomats. These are the ones with incredible amounts of surface area, like probably hundreds of feet of square footage. I don't know the exact metric, but that goes in number one.
Number two.
Here goes in number two. So this is for bacteria to colonize. Then on top of that, you have 3 bags of the bioballs.
Yep.
And so what we're gonna do, Paul, is kind of try to arrange these in here so it covers the entire area. You do not want any sort of pockets of biomat peeking through if you can avoid it, because then the water's gonna go up that way. Right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened beforehand. Basically everything like flipped, right?
It flipped itself. Yeah, and that just happens over time. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get one big rock in on each of these.
Yep.
Just make sure that's never gonna move. Get that one there, and then just for security's sake, I'm gonna put one more right there. This is just the component that kind of helps to obscure the biofalls and make it look a little bit more natural. So we're gonna put the rocks back in. In some future, we'll probably end up putting plants in here, but for now, I think just getting the rocks in, that's gonna be a big win for us. Technically, these rocks are also a bit more surface area for bacteria to colonize. I mean, it really was, this algal bloom was really a matter of the system just falling into disrepair from our own inaction. The Aquascape guys have put together an incredible system. So shout out to Aquascapes for inventing such a cool system, honestly.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? It was their video that taught me how to rebuild this thing. So it almost seems like they have full-on tutorials for anything and everything.
Every single part of individual pond maintenance. Okay, Biofalls is back online. We're slowly refilling the reservoir. What we need to do now is cycle the system, see how it runs.
Yeah.
We have to add the algicide and the sort of sludge remover, but we need to make sure the system cycles well enough because that needs to go into running water.
Correct.
So let's turn it on and hope for the best, Paul.
Whew. But that's already so much better than it was before.
Yes, that's working. Look at that, Paul.
I'm pretty happy with that.
That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. All right, brother. We got the initial clean done. We have the flow coming back.
Yep.
Now, I will say the recommended protocol is to actually do a full drain every few years. Power wash the whole thing out, you rehome your fish for a little bit, you bring it back. We wanted to just do a reset, but not a full reset. Honestly, it's flowing pretty well.
Yeah, I think it gets us like 60 to 70% of the way there, and the flow is great. Like the flow beforehand, really not pretty, but I think we're back at a homeostasis for sure.
We are. So what we need to do now is give it a little bit of time, maybe like 5 minutes to settle out.
Yep.
And kind of see what the clarity looks like. But then we're gonna apply algicide and a bio-sludge sort of deconstructor or disintegrator. But then we actually, like your point was very valid, Paul, is like, there aren't as many plants in the pond as there used to be.
No.
Some of them we removed, some of them just died, whatever. And so we need to introduce more because without those in the pond ecosystem, an algal bloom or like a nutrient buildup, which leads to the algal bloom, will happen way more often. I'm pretty sure that purple watercress is gonna kill it. So let's get the decontaminants in there and then we'll do that.
Cool.
All right, so the first product going in is Algae Fix, and this just kills off and controls algae really quickly. So for every 600 gallons, you're gonna put in 1/4 of a cup. And just the top pond structure here has about 1,500 gallons. So let's call that maybe, I don't know, 7/8 of a cup or so. So I'm just gonna float this. I've got 8 ounces. I'll probably just put about half in here. That's about right. And we can use the rest if we don't see an algae solution come through with the amount that I just put in. I'm putting it in the top of the biofalls, hopefully so it more evenly disperses throughout the pond ecosystem. And then this product here is called Microbe Lift Sludge Away. And what it does is exactly that. It's going to kind of deconstruct or disintegrate the organic matter that kind of falls to the bottom of a pond ecosystem and can rot and go anaerobic. This only needs about 2 ounces for a 2,000 gallon pond. So I do not need much of this here. It's gonna go in just like that. I can probably put a touch more. And then I'm gonna watch and see how this pond clears up from the algae and the sludge. And then I'll dose these as time goes on, just to make sure that it's nice and controlled. But I'm seeing this kind of clear through, so hopefully it works. Alrighty, Paul, it's the moment to enjoy the pond again.
Oh yeah.
We're sitting pond side, you and me, without Jacques, which makes it even better, honestly. And let's go ahead and talk about the setup that we have. So we've got some pretty basic little underwater grow bags.
Yeah, some pond pots.
Some pond pots. And then the thing is, we do have the Aquascapes growing media here. We're not gonna need a whole lot of it because these, which we got from a local nursery, already have quite a bit of plant matter here. But we're gonna need to kind of like fill around, you know? So I think that's probably the cleanest way. So let's see how this one slots in. The reason you put them in the pot, of course, is you are gonna want some level of control on that root mass. Like that canna, you can see, grew way out of that pot.
Oh yeah.
But it took years,
That's true.
So let's do a fine layer, like maybe 2 or 3 inches down at the bottom of each of these, and then we'll start to do that like fill around technique. So here we have Nasturtium officinale purple, AKA purple watercress. It says a selection of edible watercress with highlights of heavy purple. Great garnish in green salads. I have never personally grown a purple watercress.
I've never seen one.
I don't know if you have.
No.
All right, so we're gonna go in. You got a knife on you?
I do not.
Oh, wow. Looks like someone's here helping in their own way. All right, I'm gonna take off this dead thing here, and then this is where those snails came from, you can see.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple of these water snails in here. So this is, of course, a colocasia. I thought alocasia, it's a colocasia though. Colocasia esculenta Chicago harlequin. Grows to 5 feet tall.
Wow.
5 feet tall. Vivid cream stripes on the stems, as you can see.
Yeah.
Look at that, nice little look. Here you go.
That'll be cool, man. Get some height in the pond, some different flavors in the pond.
Well, we had it, remember, with the canna.
Yeah, and the papyrus, right?
And the papyrus, yeah, but those both kind of, it's not that they died, it's just like they lived out their life here.
Yeah.
Their life cycle was kind of completed. Now you could break this up, but in a water system, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, you don't really need to, right?
No, I don't think so. Then of course here we've got the Hydrocodal bonariensis, or the giant pennywort. Goes to about a foot tall, and apparently it's the largest of the pennyworts. These individual leaves, which almost are nasturtium-like, can get to 3 inches apparently.
Super cool.
And if you look, it kind of has that rhizomatous kind of rooting structure, so you know that's going to do really well in a pond ecosystem.
Very cool looking plant.
Yeah, this was everything they had at the nursery. So don't give me any credit for choosing it. I just cleaned them out of all their 4 aquatics.
And no fish this time.
No mosquito fish.
No creatures.
We have enough of them, to be honest with you. Okay, the first one's gonna go in. This is gonna be the colocasia. It'll look a little weird to start because I'm keeping it up out of the surface because I want to fill this up later on. But we're gonna put that right there. We'll see how this settles in. And I want it here because if it's gonna be 5 feet tall, I want this pond backdrop to kind of be buttressed by this beautiful colocasia. Why don't you pick where that one wants to go, Paul?
Ooh. Design is not my strong suit, but
what I like for watercress, because this is gonna clump like crazy, is getting it somewhere where it won't impede the flow of the water through the system.
Yep.
So maybe somewhere like right over there.
Okay. And the crazy thing about watercress is like once it's in the pond, it's always gonna be there. It's like a nasturtium, you know?
Absolutely. Actually, what I'm gonna do, Paul, we'll probably end up moving these, but because we don't have enough medium, I'm gonna leave them above water for a bit.
Yeah.
And just let them acclimate. And then just because we need to pay homage to the canna, Paul, we're gonna go right here for this guy.
Ooh.
What this will do is, this will just give this area a little bit more shade cover as it slowly creeps out. And look at that. You almost can't even tell there's a pot there, right?
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like it'll definitely grow outside of the pot
Yeah, it
eventually.
will. And then once we have our propagated lilies introduced back into this system, we can kind of tuck them in different crevices.
Yep.
Actually, you know what?
Maybe
we'll do that right now. I'm gonna get one down in here.
Are you weighing it down at all with rocks?
Yeah, I'm gonna put I'm gonna take one of the larger pebble sort of stones and put it on, because otherwise it'll float down the river.
Yep.
I'm gonna hope that it propagates itself and the roots know where to go, basically.
Okay.
All right, guys, we have the pond already looking much clearer in the water.
Oh yeah.
It's functioning the way that it should, and we've got some cool new plants in there. I can see the koi, it's a little muddy, but we'll see if we can get a shot of them for you. They're feeling happier energetically. I can feel it.
And so are we, right?
I'm feeling a lot better, to be honest with you. So let us know what you want to see in this pond. There's a lot on the marginal area that we haven't tackled yet. Again, thanks to Function Health for sponsoring this video. Seriously, one of the best things I've done for my health in the last year or so. functionhealth.com/Epic Homesteading 25 is $25 off your first year. Paul is about to use it himself. So we love it here at Epic Gardening. We'll see you next time. Good luck in the garden and keep on growing.